8th episode of our Angry Zombie series. In today's episode we are going to be carrying on. I think most of our gameplay is complete, so I think all we have left to do is just our canvas and add in the UI elements like our text for our score, something to represent how many lives we've got, and then also want to work on our pause menus and our end of game menus. So let's go ahead and jump straight into Unity. So first of all, let's look at our plan quick. So today, episode 8 is going to be our canvas, and we're going to create a new canvas and add in our current score label. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So let's jump into Unity. I have opened it just to save some time again. It's where we left off yesterday. Well, in the previous episode I haven't really done anything, or haven't done anything at all to it. We still need to figure out why our levels are spawning in different areas in the scene. I did do some research into that, and I couldn't figure out why, but it's not important, so we might just forget about it and move on. We'll see it towards the end, but for today let us go and start creating our canvas. So let's go. Well, we've already got a canvas here, so let's see what's on this. Okay, so that's our background. So let's go ahead and add in some UI elements. So let's go and add in our text. So let's import that quick so we can use it. I don't know why we can't just use normal text in the updated version of Unity. That's annoying. But anyway, import that. We don't even know if we need that, but we'll import it because it's telling us to import it. So in this episode we're going to make our label. I think we'll probably put our score in the top right, like over here somewhere, over here, and then in the top left we'll probably put some sort of something to represent the amount of lives that we have. I don't know if we'll just add in some text, or we'll add in like 3 skulls or something, and then every time you die or you slingshot a skull into the scene, then we'll probably get rid of one. We'll see as we go on, but for now let's go ahead and jump back into our scene, and let's go ahead and position this somewhere over here. If we zoom in, let us see. Okay, so let's change the text to score for now. We'll set that equal to 0. We'll put 3 just so you can see the size. So that looks good. I'll probably just change the anchors to the top right, and then we can move it down a bit. So -20, or let's see, what does that look like? -20 on the y-axis. You could probably go -40 maybe. Yeah, that looks better. And then for x, let's go about, let's say about -20 or -40 as well. Or let's say -30, just so it looks like there's an even gap on each side. Might have to go -20. So yeah, that looks a bit better. So I'll leave that like that, and then we will update the actual text content in our script. So let us go and make that. So we'll create a new script, and we'll call this UI manager, I think. Yeah, we'll call it UI manager, and then in our scene we are going to, when this builds, I don't know why it's building, but yeah. So in our scene we are going to create a new empty, and we will also call this UI manager. So UI manager, and then we're going to go ahead and drag and drop that new script that we just created onto our UI manager. So that's perfect. So now we can go ahead and open our UI manager, and we can go and start getting our references to all of these. So in here, let's go ahead and import our text first. So using Unity Engine I think it's UI, yeah, UI like that. That will allow us to use our text. So let's go and create a serialized field, and we'll call it, it's going to be type text. We will call it score text. or let's call it score label, no, score text, yeah, just so it matches the type. And then for now, for now let's copy that, and we will make this one lives text like that. And then as soon as we start the game, we want to go and set these. So we will set the lives to 3, and then the score will obviously be set to 0 at the start. So we can go and say score text dot text is equal to 0, and then lives text dot text, not dot toString, so dot text is going to be equal to 3. We'll start off with 3 lives for now, and then we'll see what we want to do. So we need to make these strings, so let's go and say private read only string. So we will later on pull these values from our game manager, I think it is, but for now let's just create some read only strings here. Read only string score is equal to, what is it, 0. We'll copy that and change this to lives, and we'll set that to 3. We'll just add some, make those text like that, and then we'll replace these, so 0 becomes score, and then 3 now becomes lives. So that's fine. Let's jump back into Unity and let's go ahead and set this up. Okay, so if we click on our UI manager now and we expand it, you'll see that we have references, so we can drag in these elements. So we've got our text, but let's go ahead and rename that to score text, and then I'm going to duplicate that and change this one to lives. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move it to the opposite side. So let's just go back into our scene, and then we will just drag it to the opposite side over here somewhere. So we'll just leave it there for now, and then obviously we want to change, it's not going to be score, so we'll change this to lives, and that is going, we'll just leave it at 0 for now, just like it is, because that's going to be updated at the start of the game. So let's go back into our UI manager and drag in our lives text. Oh, I know. Okay, so we can't use text anymore. We have to use text. What is it? Text mesh, I think. Same for lives. What did I do? Okay, close that because that's, don't know what that is. But yeah, so copy that. Because of the new update to Unity, you can't use text anymore. I don't know why, or at least not in this way. So now we should be able to drag and drop those values in. Still not. So let's see. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see, text. Is it saving? It is saving. So let's try that again. Drag that in. No. Interesting. Let's look this up quick. So Unity can't drag text into inspector. Let's see, are you dragging the text object from the hierarchy? Are you trying to assign the reference to it? Okay. Let's try something different. So let's go and say UI.text. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's see. Can we just make text? No, we can't. let's see, Unity text mesh pro. Okay, so I'm just looking up over here what's changed. Text Mesh Pro scripting. Let's see. How to reference. That's what we need. How can I reference in? Okay, so let's see if that works. You need to import text and flow into your scripting at the top of your script using TM Pro. So let's see. Hopefully that'll work. Using TM Pro like that, and there we go. So hopefully this works now. We'll place that, save that, jump back into Unity, and hopefully now we can drag those values in. So if we click on our UI, no, still not. So that's weird. Then declare your variables using the following in public text pro. Okay, we'll get there eventually. Let's try that. Hopefully now we can drag them in. Maybe. What is the rest of them? That your there's a name you want to call your variable. Hope it helps. I hope it helps that as well. So let's drag these. There we go. Okay, so UI. What do we got here? Lives text. So we'll drag that into a lives text. And then we'll also drag our score text into our score text reference. Then we can save that, and then we can play the game. And as soon as we play as soon as the game starts, you should see lives equal to 3 and score equals to 0. So that's good. And obviously, if we play the game, the values don't move, so they're always on screen. So that's fine. That looks good. But let's go ahead for our score text. Let's go ahead and align those to the right, and then we'll add -40 to that, and then yeah, so that's good. So let's see if that makes any difference, because I don't know if you noticed when we played the game, it was like further from the right, if that makes sense. But now what we want to do, first of all, let's go ahead and see what these errors are for. Okay, so we don't have any errors, so that's good. That's fine. But now, obviously, I don't know if you noticed that we don't have any text, so let's go ahead and say score, and then lives. So now that should update, and we should be able to now see what these values are for when we play our game. So let's play the game. There we go. So now our lives say lives is equal to 3, and our score says score is equal to 0. So now as soon as we destroy a zombie, we want to add some points to our player, and then obviously increase the score count here. And then as soon as we launch a skull, we want to decrease one from our lives. Well, technically our lives is not really live, so let's go ahead and change that. We'll change our lives to skull. Skull count text, because that's what it is. It's not really live. So let's go skull count, and then for our text we'll go and say skulls, and then we'll just change these. Skull count is equal to that, that, and this one is skull count text, or where is it gone? Skull. This needs to be lowercase, and then here we'll say skull count text is equal, well, skull count text dot text is equal to skull count. So that's fine. Now if we go back in, oh, did we save that? Yes, we did. So if we go back into Unity, that should make more sense, because we don't really lose lives. Because obviously if you destroy a zombie by hitting it, they die, not you. The only thing that happens is you use your skulls. So let's see, let's go ahead and reference this. So we changed the name of that, so we need to go ahead and drag that back in there. So let's do that. Actually, let's go ahead and change that because it's not lives again. So let's change lives text to skulls, skull count text, like that. Yeah, skull count text, cool. And then we'll go ahead and drag that in again. And let's play it, and now we'll see that it will say skulls is equal to 3 and score is equal to 0. So that's perfect. Now we want to go and update our score whenever we hit something. So let's do that. So let's go and say in our, well, first of all, let's figure out what we want to do. When we, okay, can't see our level, so we'll just open up a level quick. So for level 1, whenever we destroy our zombie, we're gonna add some sort of score, maybe like 5 or 10 points. But then also whenever our TNT blocks get destroyed, we'll also add a little bit of a score, maybe like 2 or 3 points. So those are 2 things that we need to do. So let's go and find where we do that. So for our zombie, where is it? Here's our zombie. So on collision, if it's hit by a skull, then we want to add points to the player's points count. That will do there, but we need to go ahead and make a global variable for that, so we'll leave that blank for now. And then what we also want to do is wherever we destroy our TNT, so let's see, explode is probably the right script, so there it is. So if the collision.gameObject is well, if it's hit by a skull, then we destroy it, so that's over here. So let's go and say, we'll do it just after the destroy animation is called, or should we do that before? Let's try before, because we want to add a score while the animation is playing. So in here, let's say add points to players points count. So we'll do that over here. But for now, let's go ahead and into our game manager. Actually, we're going to create another script called global script, just so we can keep our global variables in here. So we'll just call that global, and then we'll go ahead and open that. We don't really need any of this because it's just going to be a script for our variables. So in here, we'll say public int score is equal to 0, and public int skulls is equal to 3, because we're going to start the play off with 3 skulls. So we'll save that, and then in our UI manager here we will go and get rid of, well, we don't need to get rid of that yet. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that, and we will say in here, first of all, let's go ahead and say serialized field, what is it called? Global manager. Or it's going to be a game object, sorry. Game object with a name of global manager. Just like that. And then after that, we want to go and call, we want to make a global object, so global We'll call this global with a small letter G, so that's fine. And then in here, let's go and say global is equal to global manager dot get component. We want to get the global script off of that, just like that. And then in our start, we can go ahead and now say we want we need to go and update our labels. So let's go and say score text is equal to our score plus global dot score. But we're going to go ahead and delete our numbers, because that's what we're going to get from the global script. And then we also want to change our skulls count, so let's go and say skull count text dot text is equal to what is it, skull count plus global dot skulls, just like that. So now if we save that and we go back into Unity and we go ahead and add in, or if we go back to our game, we can go and make another empty object and call this global, if we can spell that right, global manager. And then on here we can add in our global script, so that's we've got our values in there now. So in our UI manager, we need to go ahead and reference that by dragging that into our UI manager reference on our script. So now if we play this, you should see that our values for our score and our skulls are still set to 0 and 3, which they are. So that's fine. So now we can, so now whenever we update these values, they're going to be, we only need to update them in one place. And if we update them in that place, in the correct place, then they should, you should see that throughout the game. So I will show you now. So if we go and, where was it? In our explode. No, let's do it to our zombie first. So now that we've got that global object, or that global, what's it called? The global variable, we can now go ahead and say, well, first of all, we're going to need reference to these global values. So let's go back to our, where do we do UI manager, and we want to do the same thing. So we'll copy, or we'll just copy this one out, copy that, and where were we? We were in our zombie. So we're going to copy that. So that's going to give us our reference to a global script on our global manager game object in the scene. But first we need to go obviously and make those references up here. So let's do that. So let's say well, we're going to do this a different way because our zombie is a prefab and it's not always in the scene. So let us go and say we won't drag this in the inspector, but instead we will look for our global manager by a tag. So let's go ahead and add in a tag. So we'll create a new tag, call it global manager. We'll save that and go back to our global manager and add that tag onto it. So now in our zombie class here we can go and say game object global manager, and then I think it's global or global script of the name just global. So that's fine. And then we want to first of all, let's see. Okay, so that's fine. So in here, let's see, global manager. Yeah, so that's for, first of all, we need to go and look for our global manager here. So let's say global manager is equal to get component, or let's say game object dot find object with tag. What tag is it got? It's got a global manager tag, which we will create by simply going well, we can just go and say read only string, and then we'll copy that just so that we don't misspell it again. Then we'll set that to the same thing that we added to our tag, which was global manager. Global manager, make sure they are correct, uppercase and lowercase, otherwise it won't work, you'll just get an error. So that should be fine now. So in here we can go and say global dot, what are we updating, score. Let's go and say plus equals 5. Let's add 5, or we can, yeah, let's add 5 to the score whenever we destroy a zombie. And because this is going to be the same for our explode or our TNT blocks, I'm just going to copy and paste it, and then just to save us some time. So that should be fine. And then as soon as we destroy, as soon as we destroy our TNT blocks, we can go ahead and say the same thing. So we'll say score plus equals, I don't know, let's say 3 maybe, just for now. We'll see. So we need to say global dot score. So let's see if this works. Hopefully this works perfectly fine with no errors. So if we go and play, I don't know if we have to drag and drop anything, we'll see now if we get any errors. Okay, so we don't get any errors, so that's good. So our skull is set to 3 and our score is set to 0, so if we go and okay, so it is working. We destroyed our zombie, and how many points did we add to that? So let's see, zombie, we added 5. Okay, so that's been called twice, but that's fine. We'll figure that out just now. So as you can see in our inspector here, our score has been increased, but just hasn't been referenced or hasn't been updated in our game, and that is because in our UI manager we have to add, or we can simply copy that and put that in here, but we could also just delete that out of there, because this update is called every frame, so whenever something changes, it will be updated and represented in the next frame. So if we play this, you'll see this still gets displayed as skulls is equal to 3 and score is equal to 3, but then if we launch our zombie into, or if we launch our skull into our zombie, we get an update of 5. So that's perfect. I don't know why the first time it changed to 10, but let's go ahead and see if that happens again. So we'll play the game again, and let's see. Okay, so 0, 3, let's launch our zombie, or launch our skull rather, into our zombie, and that's set to 5. And then if we go and try and destroy, nope, that didn't work. Okay, so we'll try that again. This might be a bit difficult though. Yeah, that'll be difficult. But anyway, you get it. That's working nicely. So let's go and fix the live. So in our UI manager, I think it is. No, it's not. So in our global, we need to somehow update our skulls. So I think in our or in our slingshot is where we release our skull. So we can simply just say on mouse up, which is the function that determines, or determines if we have launched our skull. So in here we can simply go, and first of all we need to go and reference our global script, and to do that we can just go and copy this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and copy the one where we don't have to reference it in the inspector, just because it is better and we won't get any bugs later on. So let's go and copy that into our slingshot. So let's go ahead and reposition this. So we'll cut that out and paste that up here with everything else. Rather paste that down here with the other private variables. And then do we have any read-onlys? No, we don't. So we'll just stick that over there. Okay, and then in our, where is it? In our start, we need to copy these two and also paste these in here. So we'll do that before we do anything else. Okay, so now that should work. So we can go back down to on mouse up, and over here we can go and say global dot skulls minus minus, which means it should subtract 1. Sometimes it subtracts more than 1 because it sometimes gets called multiple times. So let's see if that works. So if we go and play our game, we should now see our lives, or not our lives, our skull count being decreased, and as well as our score count being increased. So as soon as we launched our skulls, it got decreased to 2. So that's fine. I can see now that also got updated twice. So that's something I have to figure out. Okay, so let's launch another one. It gets decreased to 1, and then we get another 5 points added to our score. So that's perfect. Then we'll go ahead and launch another one. So that's fine. So now when we get to this point, we don't want to spawn another skull, because obviously we have no skulls left, and at this point in the game it's just going to respawn them and just going to keep counting down. So we're going to get into the negatives like it is now. So let's go. Also, we also got added an extra 2 points to our count. No, sorry, 3 points, because it went from 15 to 18 when we hit the TNT block, so that's working nicely as well. So in here we can say, well, first of all we need to find out where we are spawning our new skull. So it's over here. So in here, let's say if global dot skulls is, let's see, greater than 0, then we will create another skull. So we'll save that, and we will jump back into Unity and see if that works. So now it should only spawn another skull into our slingshot whenever our skull count is more than 0. So we'll launch that one. That gets destroyed. We get another one. We got 1 left. So this is the only one we should from now on be able to launch. So let's go and launch that, and you can see now we will get an error because there's going to be no skull left. So that's perfectly fine. So that's working. We just need to deal with this error somehow. So what I'm going to do is, I think we could actually, let's try something else quickly. Let's see this again quick. So if let's think, maybe we can somehow, or should we display like a pause menu, or it's going to be a game over menu when we run out of skulls, but maybe we should spawn another skull into the slingshot first. Yeah, let's do that first. So let's go and say is greater than or equal to 0, like that, and hopefully that will give us an extra skull. But then we can also go and check if the skull count is equal to 0, then we will not allow the player to launch another skull, because that would be the game's supposed to be over at that point. So when this eventually loads, I'll try and launch these again. So that's the first one. That gets destroyed. We can slingshot another one. So let's go and do the last one. So yeah, so that's working nicely. So we've got an extra skull, but at this point we can still launch this one. So we want to go ahead and stop that from happening. Otherwise, we're just going to get the same error where it gets destroyed and doesn't spawn another one. So that's fine. Let's see how we're going to fix this. So in here we can simply go and say create shoot. Let's see where on if is mouse down, compound reset, if is mouse down, and global dot what's it called, skulls. Global dot skulls is greater than 0, then we will only allow the player to launch them. So let's go see if that works. So if we play a game, hopefully now we still get our 4th skull instantiated into our slingshot, but we should no longer be allowed to launch the skull. So that's 2 skulls, and then we should be able to launch 1 more. So we can launch this one, and then let's go ahead and so we can launch that one, but it doesn't really work properly. So we're getting there. So let's go and see. So maybe we need to put this somewhere else. Let's see. Let's make a higher level if statement. So we'll say if. Well, let's undo that quick and just cut that out and put it here. If global skulls is greater than 0, then we will allow the player to do all of this. If not, then don't do anything, in other words. So hopefully that works, and hopefully we can't move any of the 4th skull, like, at all. So let's go ahead and play that and see if it works. So we can launch our skull. That's the first one. We should have 2 more. So we'll launch the 2nd one. And then this should be the last one. But the other one should appear, which it still does, which is good. So let's see if we are still able to launch this. So, okay, so we're still able to launch that, but maybe I think we have to change or disable the what's it called, the trigger box, or the collider. What is it called? The box that is on the skull. Let's see. No, not the skull. Sorry, the slingshot. Let's see. Center. The box collider. Sorry. So this guy. So let's go and somehow say if the global dot skulls is greater than 0, don't allow the player to do anything, well, first of all, let's go, no, so if it's not equal to 0, sorry, so that we want to put, well, what I want to do is I want to go and put what I want to do in here. So let's say else, I'll spell that right first. So if it's greater than 0, do all of this. If not, do this. So in here we want to go ahead and disable this box collider. I don't know if you can do that. Well, I think actually, yeah, I think you can. But we're going to need actually we should have a collider. No? Let's see. We have a box collider on this game object, so let's go and say game object dot get component, and it is a type box collider 2D, so we'll write that here, box collider 2D. We'll just say that is trigger, let's do false, and then well, let's go ahead and see if that works first. So if we play our game, hopefully now we can see that, well, we're gonna have to launch our 3 skulls first. just to see or make sure that they work. So that works. Next one also works, and our last one should work, which it does. Okay, but it launches the opposite way. Okay, so that's something that's not working. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what's happening here. Is trigger is equal to false. Well, actually, let's say else if global dot skulls is equal to 0, then we'll go and do that. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. So let's try that out. So launch our first one, launch our second one. Okay, so there is a problem there. So I think okay, so that still launches. So we need to figure out why that's still launching. So clearly that doesn't work. So I'll just go ahead and delete that. And then I'm just going to set that to 2 quickly, just so it saves us some time. Okay, so I think my Unity program just crashed. So let's see what happened. Upload your stuff. Okay, so close that. So let's go ahead and reopen Unity. But let's go ahead and see, jump into our script while that is opening and see what we can try different. So where we call in our shoot, which is on mouse up. Okay, so we might need to put that in here. Just because, yeah, because this is called whenever you release the mouse. So we will also put that in here. So let's go ahead and say, I'll just go ahead and copy this. We'll change that back to 0 because I have a feeling this will work. So we'll put that in here. So if global.skulls is greater than 0, then we'll go and do everything that we were originally doing. But if it's not equal to 0, then just don't do anything. So we'll leave that blank. So we'll save that, and hopefully, okay, Unity has opened up. Okay, so we will try this out and see. It should work now. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work. But having said that, I thought that about the first attempt, that didn't work. So let's try. First one launches, that's fine. Second one is still instantiated in our skull, so and we can still launch that, so that's great. So we should have one left. So let's go ahead and launch that. So the next one is put into our sync shot, but let's see. Yeah, there we go. So we can no longer drag this out and launch it. So that's perfect. That's working nicely. So that's fine. So and now let's go to our UI manager. Oh, in fact, let's go back into our UI or into Unity, and in here we can now create our game over panel. So let's go and say UI panel, and we want to name this to game over panel, like that. And I'm probably going to change the size of this, but let's go ahead and find some of the art that we want to use. So let's go and change this to 2-column layout, increase the size of this so we can see what we're looking at, and jump into here into our art file. We'll increase that a little bit more. So what we want our game over menu to look like is, let's see, where is it? I think we must have like a picture. Actually, let's go ahead and we'll jump into the asset store just to see where we actually got this asset from. Let's go and zombies. So let's see if we can see a picture of the end of game menu. So is this it? Yeah, so this is what we want it to look like. So I'm just gonna screenshot that quickly so you can try and replicate that. Okay, cool. So we don't need that. We'll close that and just jump back. Okay, so let's tick that off. So we created a new canvas and added a current score, work on an increased score and destroying objects. We've done that. Adding the player's lives, we've done that. So that's actually it for this episode, but we'll carry on with what we're doing, just so it makes the final episode shorter, if there will be a final one. Yeah, we'll start with the game menus. So let us go and try and get this sorted. So we'll jump into our art file. So first of all, let's go back to our panel, and for our image we want to go ahead and change our image. So let's find it over here so it's easier. So there it is. So we'll change that. We'll select that, and then we can change the we'll remove the transparency so it you see the entire picture. And then first of all, let's go make this smaller because it's a bit too big. So let us, why can't I see all of it? Okay, there. So where is it? Game over panel. Let's make that smaller, maybe like that. Let's see what that looks like. Probably make it slightly bigger. Maybe like that, I think. Yeah, that's fine. And then let's go and try and put that in the middle. So that looks like it's in the middle, but we need to... Actually, yeah, that should be fine. And then let's go ahead and add another image onto the back of it. So let's go UI, image, and we're going to change the source image as well to that, like, I think what's it called, like a sunshine thing, this thing, that's a star. And then we're going to, so that's under our game panel, so we can simply go and spread this across to fit in to the size of our game panel, but we want to make it slightly bigger, just because we're going to put it at the back. So let's see if we can make this bigger, maybe like that. So that's fine. So let's go ahead and center that. And we will change, we need to move this to the back now. So let's see, this we can put at maybe 10, and this at, actually that's not going to work, so we'll set that at 0. And then let's see, where is it? Scale, rotation, anchors, no. We might just have to swap them, so we'll take that. Okay, that's a mistake. So we'll make the game over panel a child object of our image. And we'll just change the name of this to background star, I think or whatever it's called. We'll just name it background star for now. So that's fine. Let's see what that looks like in our game. So that looks good. I think, can we change the... Does it go to opacity? No, it doesn't. So that's fine. Although I think we might make it a little bit bigger, just so that we can see it. Or maybe, in fact, we'll just make our game over panel a bit smaller, because we don't really have much to put on it. So we'll go ahead and center that again. Actually, this should not be a... That shouldn't be a child of our score. I don't know why it is, but anyway, there we go. So we will go and put this in the center again. There we go. So that looks that doesn't look good. So we need to change the game over panel, put that back in the center. That's fine. So that should look good. There, that looks better. And then what we need to do next is, just going to move that up a bit. Now we can go ahead and add in our text. So let's go and add in a title. So on our game over panel we'll add in a UI text mesh pro, and this is going to be equal to game over we need to change the size of it, so we'll make that to, well, let's see. First of all, we will put that, well, we will move that to the top over here. We will center the text in the block. We'll probably make it bold, I think. Yeah. Let's see, do we have any fonts in this game? Does the game come with any font? Sound, prefab style, scenes, favorites, but no. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, we'll just leave it with that font, it's not that important. So that's fine. We could probably make it slightly bigger, maybe 40. Let's see, what does that look like? Cool. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to go and copy that. And then we will change that. Well, first of all, let's go and rename this to game over. This one we will set to score, and here we'll go score is equal to 0, 0, just for now. What else do we want to do? Let's see. Then we're going to want to add some buttons into it, so that we can either restart the game or go back to the main menu, or even just exit the game. So let us go and add in some buttons. So under our game over panel, let's go UI. Where's button over here, and then we can change the name of the button to let's see, main menu. Then we can change the image to one of our buttons. Let's see, let's make it, we will select that one as our main menu. So, and then for our width and our height we'll set to the same, so it looks like a square. We can probably go less, so maybe 100 by 100. So that looks good. We're going to get rid of the text because we don't really need that. So we'll copy the main menu button, we'll add button to that so we know it's button. And then we'll copy that, paste it, change the name to restart button. Then we'll go ahead and change the picture to like a redo. I don't know if that's the right image, but we'll use that one. So we'll leave that one there, and then we want to probably yeah, we'll just leave those two, we'll just use those two buttons for now. So let's try and put them in the middle. Okay, so one button has to be there, and the restart button needs to be slightly off-centered. So we can drop those down. Actually, we'll just put them in here somewhere, so like that. And then for our score, we'll drop that down as well. We could probably make that bigger because it's probably the only text we're going to have on it. So we'll make that maybe 55. And then we need to make the width of it bigger so that it fits on one line. And then let's go and change the color of our text to like a yellowish color, just like that. And then what I also want to do is I want to add in another image. So we'll create another image and we will change this to our skull, just so we can add some decoration. So we'll put this over there, and we will probably make that maybe 80 by 80. We'll add some rotation to that, wherever rotation is. So let's try 90, wrong axis. Also wrong axis, so clearly on the Z axis we want to rotate it 45, or let's say about 25 maybe, even less, 20. So we'll put that there, like that, so that looks good. And then I want to go and change our text from bold to not bold, and then let's just put that down to 50. and we'll change our score from score to final score like that. So that's fine, so that should be all good. So let's go and see what it looks like in our gameplay. So let's see. So that's what our game looks like. Perfect. So as you can see, it's in the background. We'll fix that now. So that's fine. And how long is the stream? So we're coming up on an hour, so we'll probably end it soon. But for now, let's go and try and let's see if we can. Oh, first of all, let's disable this. Where is it? So we will disable that so it doesn't appear, and then we will enable it in our script. So let's see. So in here we will say if, first of all, let's go into our global script and add in another global variable, and we'll call this public boolean is paused, and public boolean game, we'll say is over. So is pause is obviously going to be used to pause the game, and is over is obviously going to be used if the game is over. So in our UI menu we can go and say if global.is paused, then we're going to display pause menu, and then in, where is it? Yeah, I think it's in our game manager. We want to, or actually let's say in our UI manager here, let's say if global manager dot is over, then we also want to display game over menu, which is the menu that we just created. So let's try and do that quick. So here let's go and say serialize field game object game over panel, like that, and then here we can say game over panel dot is dot set active is equal to true. So whenever our game is over, we will set our game over panel to active, but because our game is not going to be paused at the start, we'll set that to false. And same as our is over, because the game is not going to be over straight away, we'll set that to false as well. So we'll save that, jump back into Unity, and obviously you won't see any difference now because we haven't really set the is game over boolean to true whenever the game is over. So you'll see that the game over panel doesn't pop up. Okay, so we need to drag in some objects here. So let's see, no reference exception. Okay, so let's just play that game, see what fresh errors come up. Nothing. Okay, so in our UI manager we need to now drag in a reference to that. So we'll go and drag in our background star, because that is our game over panel. As you can see, if I enable it, you can see it pops up. If I disable it, it disappears. So if we jump into our script, and if we go into our game manager here, no, not this one, our slingshot, because this is where, let's see, actually we could probably do this somewhere else, maybe in our let's think, because obviously when we launch our last girl, we don't want to instantly display our game over panel unless or until like the collisions and the explosions or whatever happens in the scene is finished. So we could say when the skull count is equal to 0 and the and the count of skulls in the scene is equal to 1, then we want to display our game over panel. So we need to figure out where we want to do that. So where's the best place to do that? I think the best place to do that is, I have no clue. Let's see, slingshot, do you want to do it in here on mouse up? So if global skulls is less than 0, we need to do this in a update function somewhere. So if the global skulls is greater than 0, then we do everything that's normal, but if it's not, let's try it here. So else if, because we need 2 conditions here, else if, what do we need? Global dot skulls is equal to 0, and what else do we say? The skull count in the scene so the skull count is equal to 1, then we can say global dot is over is equal to true. So I doubt this will work, but you never know. Let's try it and see. It can't be that easy, but you never know. Hopefully it is. Let's see, play the game. So let's see now. Hopefully it doesn't appear on the screen straight away, which it doesn't. Let's see what these are. Okay, so let's go back out. Just clear that and then play the game again. Hopefully you don't get any errors. Okay, we do, but anyway, the game is not paused, so that means we can still play it. So let's see. Okay, so destroy that one. We have 2 skulls there, so destroy that one. And then destroy the last one. Okay, so that does work, but like I said, we only need to... Oh, okay, I know why that's happening, because as soon as we release the skull, we have that slight delay where there is... And because of that slight delay, we actually meet this criteria, so the global skulls is equal to 0, and our skull count is equal to 1 for like 0.2 of a second, I think our delay is. Yeah, there it is. So what we could do is... what can we do actually? I had an idea, but it's completely gone blank. So we need to try and figure this out. So, but anyway, that is working nicely though. We just need to figure out why we're getting these errors. But I think that is a task for the next episode, because this episode is actually an hour long. So we'll go ahead and save this. Save all of our scripts. They are all saved, so that's perfect. So let's go ahead and open up GitHub. We can go ahead and commit this. So let's see, game UI started working on the game UI and the game UI. Added in the game score and the game skulls count, and then started creating the game over menu. So we'll go and commit that, and then let's have a look and see. So in tomorrow's episode we are going to continue with our in-game menus, so that's fine. So we'll publish that. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, in tomorrow's episode we're going to go ahead and continue with our game menu. So we'll carry on working on our game over menu. We'll get that done. We'll go ahead and make the buttons work as well, but then we'll also go ahead and make a pause menu, so you can pause the game at the same, or during the game. And then and hopefully that will be the last episode of this series, and then we can go ahead and start our next series, which I think is going to be shorter than this series. It should only be about 4, maybe 5 episodes, so that's good. I'll tell you what that game is in the next episode, but I think that's it for this episode. So obviously if you enjoyed this episode or the series, please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give the videos a like. And yeah, that's it for this episode, so I'll see you in the next episode, and our final episode. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.